We like short ones.
Short's good.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to OP Digital Blueprint. Thankfully, I made it home today. 12 hours. Yes, all good. Yay. Newcastle and back today, Red. Brilliant. From the south coast. Yeah, 12 hours. But all good. And I'm joined, obviously, with my two colleagues here, my two best friends, Red and Jeanne Allevaand. So we're going to have a chat today about what was said by our inimitable CEO last week. So over to Red. Let me hand it to you first of all, my friend.
Thanks very much, Andy. Jeanne, nice to see you as always. Good to be here. Like Tuesdays, they're always good fun. I think it's really important to continue to talk about our CEO who we saw on Friday. And as I was saying on my live today about silence. Oh, bless you, Jane. Silence is a strategy. This all sort of marries in very nicely to where I think we are and what I think is happening at the moment. He is he's very big on strategy, and he is a strategist. And I'm convinced that seeing him on Friday is all part of the strategy of what he is trying to achieve with the next phase of ONPASSIVE. And I don't think seeing him on Friday and what he said within the context of Friday is a mistake. I think it's all done by design. I think it's all been done for a purpose. And part of that purpose, I believe, is to kind of get us ready a little bit here. We've had a lot of quietness from our CEO over the last 4 months, seen him very sporadically. And that is done by design. And when we saw him on Friday, he was bringing up some really interesting and good points. And one of them was about laying bare the crooks and thieves with evidence of what has gone on to cause what happened in that first phase of ONPASSIVE. Now, it's vitally important that that is told with evidence and all the rest of it. Why? Because I really don't think, for some, not for the dedicated people who understand and have been on the ONPASSIVE journey, but mainly for the people who aren't quite sure and for new people who are going to come in to ONPASSIVE, to have the evidence and honesty behind what has gone on, so that they can literally draw a line under it to say, listen, this happened to us. Here's the evidence, what happened. I was a victim, the same as everybody else. These people did whatever they did, blah, blah, blah. What we've done now is we've done this and we've done that, and we're moving on to do what we're doing. I think that is an important part of the next phase of ONPASSIVE. I think it's important that we can draw a line under that and say, yeah, that all makes sense. We can relate it to the timings of where we were in ONPASSIVE over the last year, and it will all make a lot more sense. He said that's not going to be a secret for much longer. This is why I get the gut feeling that we are now going to be moving shortly into the next phase. Now, whether that entails us opening our doors once more, or whether it is giving us a time frame of how it's going to pan out, I'm not quite sure. But certainly I believe there's going to be some movement very shortly. It makes sense if you analyze it a little bit, you think about it. Seeing him on Friday, him saying about kind of what is happening and how we're moving forward. He mentioned having the new team around him that have got the same vision as he has, whereas before other people were going off in directions that weren't aligned with what he was trying to do. Now he feels a lot more confident and all the rest of it. He also reiterated once again that we will look back at 2024 in the ONPASSIVE journey as a really good year. Now, many of us here would probably think 2024 was shocking, really, wasn't it? It was like everything fell to pieces. Again, if you analyze it looking back, having it happened when it did has probably been a huge blessing in disguise, because if we'd have carried on moving forward, it literally could have crippled the company. And having it happened in 2024 when things were very new and very small, I suppose, then we can change, rejig, get rid of old, bring new in, all the rest of it, and literally learn from our mistakes. He mentioned this as well on Friday about how much more knowledgeable he is now, how much more in tune with what is going on. He even mentioned the community of the ONPASSIVE foundership as well, of how we are all really pretty up to date with what's going on. He mentioned that people aren't stupid anymore. They understand things a lot better than they ever did. And this is all a big nod, in my opinion, to the foundership, the dedication, the belief, certainly, of our CEO and Ash Mufareh. I think, just to summarize, and I'm going to hand it back to Andy here, is that I thought that the timing was spot on to see him. You know, people were starting to get a little bit anxious, itchy, all the rest of it. He obviously understood this. He felt it was time for him to come and say, I'm here, working behind the scenes. I haven't gone anywhere. We're nearly there now, little bit longer, and you are going to be very, very happy that you have stuck to this without going anywhere else, without doing anything else, all the rest of it. I'm going to prove to you that what I said is going to happen. And with all of those factors that he mentioned on Friday, I really do think that we are getting towards the stage now where we're going to have the meeting, we're going to have the explanation, and we're going to get the time frame for where we're moving into the next phase. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Red. You made a very good point there, and I'm sure Jeanne's on the same page here as you are, but I'm a great believer in things happen for a reason. Now, we you know, there are no coincidences in life, and at the end of the day, Ash had this vision, and this vision is to help humanity. Now, we've had a stumbling block, and there perhaps the reason why we didn't go ahead and things didn't progress any further was because of that blockage. But that's worked actually in our favor. It's like losing your job. I remember losing my job in Dubai years ago and thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? But actually, it allowed me to move on to something much, much better. And I think that's exactly where we are with ONPASSIVE. The system says, if we'd have gone along with the system as it was and the people that we had in place at that time, all hell would have broken out by now. So thank the universe for being able to create and allow us to move forward to the place that we're now at without those bad influences. I'm sure you'll agree, Jeanne, but I'm sure you have other things to say as well.
No, I totally agree. Basically, Ash was way ahead of his time, way ahead of the world, right? So he had this amazing vision, and in his innocence, in his enthusiasm, in his joy to help the world, he opened his heart and shared it all. And the world wasn't ready for that. The world, the companies were, the ethical, clean way of being that we're trying to bring to the world is, the rest of the world is not there yet. And so he was ahead of his time, and always will be, I think. But this was a wonderful learning experience that if it hadn't happened this way, because the world wasn't ready, I don't know what would have happened, really, so it really was perfect. It really, really was. And allowed Ash and all of us to learn so much. It allowed us to become stronger and obviously more resilient and all of that. And I believe that what's going to happen, like Red said, what it has to, because all the while that we've, with this sort of holding pattern, things have still been moving in the background, things that we can't even imagine what he's working on, right? So he can't, even now, if he was ready to open the doors, he can't just like open them wide and here's the mall of everything I've been working on. He's going to have to introduce it in stages. And that first stage obviously is, this is what happened. So people can heal, right? So people can, this story involves people that we loved, that we admired, and they betrayed us. And so that there's going to be, God bless you, Red, there's going to be a healing process involved in this, out of our love for Ash and the pain that he and his family went through with all of this, with him fully entrusting people and then them doing, following their own agenda. So we're all going to have to go through a bit of a healing process. And I think to like bring out the whole ball of wax in the middle of that would not be the strongest way to go, right? So I have full trust in Ash Mufareh that he, after learning everything he's learned, he knows and has an excellent idea about how to tell the story, when to tell that story, when to reopen the doors, what to introduce first, all of those things. I just have such an amazing amount of respect and trust with this man. He has been through it. Man, has he been through it, and we don't even know the half of it. So I was so thrilled to see him. He's so real, I mean, I know a lot of people, especially in some of the other countries, put him on a really high pedestal. And I know Marty and Chris are really good about, making sure people know he's a human being. He's a guy that jokes around and, and all that, just like anybody else. But he has an extraordinary warmth and an ability to love unconditionally and have just unbelievable respect and patience. And for me, having someone like that to admire and look up to, just like the two gentlemen on the screen here, when you have people around you that you can just always be inspired by and want to be better because you're around them, is just that. I mean, we don't have the financial part of everything right now, but the gift of what we've been learning and what we've gained with this friendship, boy, we're going to hit the ground running. We are going to hit the ground running so fast. And we're just going to have a ball. And if we hadn't had this time, we wouldn't have been able to do it in that same strong, solid, that solidarity of everybody going through the muck and the mire, going through this trial period. I think we're really going to be a force to be reckoned with. So thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Jeanne. This is a good point. When Ash came on the other day, to me, not only did he look absolutely full of confidence, but he looked very excited, and you could tell that he wanted to say more, but he's holding back for obvious reasons, and I get that. I really do. I've lived in Dubai, and the one thing I love about Dubai is it has rules. You break the rules, you pay the penalty. We have rules in the UK and no one seems to pay any attention to it, and you get a little slap on the wrist if you're lucky. And that's unfortunate. It should be the same system as Dubai. So I think we're going to see some fireworks happen with what's gone on. I think that's probably the most tactful way of putting it, Red?
Yeah. Jeanne mentioned actually about Ash being ahead of his time, and that reminded me of something. And one of my all-time favorite films is the first Avatar, and obviously James Cameron, who was the director of that. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that he had the idea of Avatar back in the 90s. Okay, a long time ago, before it ever came. And do you know why he didn't make it in the 90s? And that was because technology hadn't got good enough to do the things that he wanted to film and how he wanted to film it. I don't know if you've ever, I mean, obviously, if you did go and were lucky enough to see the 3D at the cinema I did, it was out of this world, really was. And that's because the cinematography equipment that he used was so specific, with all the AI and everything involved in it, that was the only way that he could do it. Now, obviously, since then, everybody's using it. You know, you see people all over the place that have got these body suits on with electrodes all over them, and they have superimposed everything's all over them. Avatar was the very first that did it. And this reminds me so much of Ash Mufareh. He's had this vision, this idea of ONPASSIVE for a very long time. He's spoken about this story, hasn't he, at length, many times on some of his longer webinars, of how he's always wanted to do where we're going to be going for ONPASSIVE, and he's not been able to for all sorts of reasons. And it reminds me that he's actually ahead of his time as far as the internet is concerned, because what he's doing hasn't been done before, has it? And when you're doing something that hasn't been done before, guess what? You're ahead of the time. The only thing that you can liken what is happening in ONPASSIVE is when Microsoft Word first came back in the 90s, when they put Excel and PowerPoint and Word docs all together in one, didn't they? And then they made it Microsoft Word, so they had various applications in one place. Our OES system for ONPASSIVE is going to be very similar. It's the one single sign-on. You cherry pick what you want, and you have it all in the one area. To be able to pull it off, sometimes you actually have to wait a little bit longer, don't you, for the right technology, for the right things to slot into place. I certainly believe that because he was so far ahead of his time, because he was pushing those boundaries of technology in a lot of the applications, this period of time that we've had is probably going to be a huge positive. Because if you go back to the avatar theory of technology, everybody's doing it now and everybody's got it now. But at the time, James Cameron was the only person that pulled it off, because he put it all together. He built the film cameras and everything to be able to do what he needed to do. I firmly believe as well that ONPASSIVE will be in the similar kinds of realms. We will have other people who will try and mimic and copy us down the line, because they will see ONPASSIVE as such a global success that they all want to have a little bit slice that cake. Now, here's the but. It's a bit like an iPhone, right? An iPhone is regarded as the cream of the crop, the piece de resistance of phones, whether you believe that or not, because of obviously, guess what came behind it? Android. Okay, why did Android come behind Apple? Because they saw an opportunity that people wanted this style, this way of using mobile phones. So they had to jump onto something very quickly to catch up with where Apple were going with their mobile devices. And you can also liken this to a lot of other businesses where people have tried to catch up with where other people are within the industry. I believe that because we've got a CEO that is forward thinking, and he even mentioned about forward thinking on Friday when he was saying that he's fighting battles in the background. He said, but we don't want to fixate on those things. We want to look forward to what we are trying to do. And he's always the same. What's happened. You know, you can't change what has happened, but one thing you can do is change what is happening. And that is where he always focuses, is on what is going to happen, not what has happened, what is going to happen. And I think that with his forward thinking, with what he's trying to produce, we really are in the best shapes of our life. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Red. You gave a good example there, and I'm going to give another one. There's a Russian oligarch. The book was never translated into English, and I'll be honest, I haven't read it because I don't read Russian, but I've had a précis or an understanding of the book. But basically what this guy did was wrote a book on how to become a multi-millionaire, and then didn't release that book for nearly 30 years, because what he wanted to do was to prove his theory was correct. So first, he used the information in the book that he'd written to become a multi-millionaire. Actually, it was into the billions, and then he released the book. So this, for me, this is the same sort of thing as we've got going on at the moment. We've got this system and this opportunity with digital products that are, as you mentioned earlier, ahead of their time, because these are value for money. These do more things than the others. They work better. They're AI induced, and we're 3 or 4 years ahead of the curve because of that. So, and timing is everything. I get that. Timing is everything. So perhaps when we first looked at this, it wasn't a case of we're ready for it. And as I said before, everything happens for a reason. So now all of the products that we think we know are likely to have been totally and utterly revamped. And I can't wait. I'm getting really excited about that. So what are your thoughts, Jeanne?
Well, my first thought when Red was talking about, when other companies copy, imitate, come up with things that are very similar to what we've been doing and talking about for 5 years, I'd say. It's funny because when you see things like DeepSeek and hi Collins and ChatGPT and all of these things, they're all fabulous, and then people are doing, oh my gosh, the videos and the language and translation and all these things, and they're wonderful. But they're not all unified on a single platform with single sign-on, talking to each other and providing people an opportunity to earn commissions. You know what I mean? Like even now, because we've had to quote unquote wait, and all these things are happening, and people are getting in an uproar. People are doing our things and all that. No. What Ash has envisioned, when you think back to conversations we had in meetings years ago, the stuff that's happening now that people are thinking is so high tech, and they're not even caught up with what Ash was talking about back then. And we know those are a done deal, right? So I don't think I'm unusual in this crowd, but out there in the world, there are some people that they get so nervous, like, the world's going to catch up and take all our ideas and all this kind of stuff. But when you have someone like Ash, who is always, like Red said, always thinking, 100 steps ahead, has so many things in his back pocket. What did he say? He needed to live to a certain point to do all his ideas. Oh, this is going way back. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't 50. Whatever it was, he was like, oh, I don't think I'll be able to do them all of my ideas. So he's going to have to get a team, say, okay, here's some of my ideas. You take those and run and da, da, da. So I think we're just, if somebody comes out with something that has a whole bunch of things in one place and it pays people, then I'll say, wow, maybe people are starting to get the idea. But won't that be a beautiful thing? Because Ash's goal here is to have the whole world transformed with conscious, business-minded, loving-based, helping the people, all of this kind of stuff. So if other companies start doing things that are even remotely similar to what we've got planned here, it's only good. As Ash has said, hashtag only good, only good. So that's all I wanted to add here. We have Collins. Yay.
Thanks, Jeanne. Yeah. Collins, we're really going back to what Ash has been was saying last week. And for me and Red and Jeanne, it was about the excitement of having seen him and the reasons behind that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Wow. It was really amazing. Let me just greet Red. Long time not seeing you. Been like up. We're just rushing to me. Hi, Jeanne. Yeah, it was really great to see Ash. That day, I think you can see the calmness of spirit. Ash was really calm, really excited. And I believe all the founders also were really excited to see Ash. And he spoke from his heart. Explained a lot of stuff. But to me, what I gathered, when I look at and I listened to Ash, I said, truly, this is really perfect timing. Whilst I was coming back home, I was just asking myself what perfect timing means for all of us in this business. Yes, things have happened, and we all know that things happen. Ash never shy away to tell us about the things that have happened to slow us down. But again, I was just reflecting on it. After listening to Ash, I said, you know what? Given the fact that we are moving, especially in this day and age where technology is growing very fast, to me, it is perfect timing. It happens to give us that breather. So Ash can take 2 steps back, look at the market again and the trend, look at the opportunities that are out there and how things can be done better, even much better than where we are before. And that's how I see it. And I call it a perfect timing. Because you look at perfect timing in a different way. The industry is growing, not shrinking. Technology is growing. It's not shrinking. But how do you catch up with technology? Something must happen for you to take a step back to say, wow, maybe we were going in the right direction. Now is the time for us to take a break and then bring ourselves back to that path, where we want to move. And I saw the excitement in Ash. And we have to remember that there is competition, yes. We have competitors. Not like there is no, it exists. No matter how we want to say it exists. But how many of the competitors are fulfilling customers' expectation? Most of them, none. They build, yes, we are competing, but they are not fulfilling customer expectation. Customers are looking for something different. Do we have something different? Yes, of course. We're talking about high quality technology for a better price point. Customers want price point because the first thing is, yes, I like that technology, but what is the price? I like an Apple phone. Everybody desires to have Apple phone, but how many of us can afford it? All of us want to drive Tesla car. You give me, I'll say, yes, I like it, but how many of us can afford it? The price is killing. What if there is a company that can build something of that quality and it will supply it for affordable price where everyone anywhere can just lay a hand on it and say, yes, I like it and I can get it. This is exactly what Mr. Ash Mofara is doing. This is what Mr. Ash Mofara is doing to say, you know what, the pricing is too much. What is the means? Do we have the available means to build something that would reach everyone everywhere? Because customer behavior too are changing. They behave based on price. Everybody wants to get something, but the price is killing. New regulation is there. Yes, people, companies, countries will bring new regulation, but it's an opportunity to help other companies, startup companies, to grow. Because you always look at the opportunities. What are the opportunities out there that I can grab to build something where everyone anywhere can lay hand on it? And this is exactly what Ash is doing. And I see this particular phase now as an opportunity for Mr. Ash Mufara and the tech team to take the company and head. Andy, I will leave it there.
Thanks, Collins. I know, you've been busy as well. So, but Red, what I'd like you to do is to just have some final points that you'd like to add before we close, and I will come back to you, Collins,
actually,
don't worry.
Picking up on what Jeanne said about people are nervous that technology is running away from us. People are nicking our ideas and they're doing things that we're doing. And no. Analyze it and think about this. Our competition, whatever it may be, has had 6.5 years to do what we're doing, right? There's been no shortage of information. Some of these people might be founders, in fact, within our business, because they want to know what is happening and all the rest of it. So you have to ask, why haven't they done what we are going to be doing? They've had a real big snippet already. They've seen the OES. Okay, they're probably inside it because they're probably founders. They've seen what O-Connect looked like. They've seen what O-Trim looks like. They've seen what we can do already. So why haven't they gone out and done it themselves? The logical answer is a very easy one, because when it comes to the cost element of building it, when it comes to the cost element of what we were selling it at, and when they come to the cost element of what's in it for them, it doesn't make business sense to them. There is not enough in it for them to justify the manpower, the time, the development, the launching, all of the rest of it to make a platform like what we are doing, because they have shareholders to pay. They've got directors to pay. They've got to make certain amounts of profit for their business, because that is what is expected. Here in ONPASSIVE, doesn't matter about that, does it? We haven't got shareholders. We've got one person and his family who are backing all of this for the benefit of all of us. This is where we're going to make the difference. And if you think about it really logically, data is probably the biggest commodity now worldwide. You can have your chat GTPs, you can have whatever platforms you like, you can have whatever programs you like, and all the rest of it. Fantastic. You crack on, son. It's a great idea, but the number one commodity that anybody wants now within the internet space is data. In round terms and figures, your name, your address, your email, and your phone number. Okay, that is what companies fall over each other to get hold of. Why? Because it's their market. It's how they market. It's how they manage to. You go on your phone. Okay, you get messages, you get stuff all of the time, right? That is somebody having your data, whether it's an IP address, whether it's an email, whether it's your name, whether it's a phone number. That is what people are all after. We have a system now where we control our own data. We're not selling out to somebody else. We're not going down the route of utilizing our data for something else. But that data is gold. And what it means is that we are now marketing our own products, our own services to probably $1.5 million, 2 million on the get-go. When we open our doors, what's that going to raise to? 5 million, 10 million, whatever it may be. Other companies would fall over themselves to have that market share straight off the bat. And we don't have to pay for it. It's all in-house. go to Expedia and buy data so that we can market to people, or to Microsoft so we can buy data to market to people. We're going to have these companies wanting to align with us because of our data that we have within our own industry, so that they can import their products and services into our marketplace and to sell it to our client base. This is the reverse angle of building a business. What's the saying? Build it and they will come. That's exactly what Ash Mufareh is doing here. He is building something for the benefit of its foundership, users and affiliates, and the rest will all fall into place. He's made it into a business where we all prosper, but more importantly, the data part of our business is going to be the golden nugget. People will come to us because of the volume of people we have within our industry, within the ecosystem of ONPASSIVE, and they will want a slice of that cake. Back to you.
I think it's important just to clarify, Red, and you make an absolute great point. This data is ours. ONPASSIVE does not sell data. What it will do is a company will come along and say, listen, guys, you've got a hell of a lot of customers here and you've got all of this data. What we want you to do is to sell our product within your organization. So they don't, they're not going to get rid of the data or offer data out. They're simply going to go, there's the targeted traffic, bang, there's your customer. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
See you later. So, and I think the second point I wanted to clarify, or rather make a point of, was these other companies that are in place right now. They hadn't started with AI, and Collins used a brilliant analogy some while ago that I'm going to repeat, because what Ash has done is built a foundation that is 1 kilometer wide and could build to the moon. I'm not going to mention the company's name, but there is another company that deals with video conferencing that is trying to build a skyscraper on a 2-story house foundation, and sooner or later it's just going to fall like a pack of cards, because they're just adding on and adding on and adding on. It doesn't work. If you haven't got the foundation and you haven't got the AI built in to start with, you have to start again. You can't just add it or bolt it in, because, as I said, sooner or later it falls down like a pack of cards. So, another interesting point. But, Jeanne, final comments.
Well, when Red brought up the movie, the movie Field of Dreams is the Build It and They Will Come. What's perfect about that is, in the beginning, only he could see the ball players. If anybody's familiar with that movie, there's this baseball field, and this farmer sees these ghosts, he sees them because he has the vision, right? And then his family, his close. What's that?
You mean Kevin?
Yes, Kevin Costner. And then his family, at first his family's not sure what he's talking about. And then his family can see it. And then he has, I think, like a brother-in-law that fights him tooth and nail. You're wasting your money. You're wrecking your family, gives him no manner of grief. So you see the analogy here. We have people that don't see the vision fighting and trying to hold it back and making every kind of problem. And then even they come to see the vision. So we're in that place right now where the brother-in-law is trying to, put the kibosh on this great vision of this baseball field where everyone will come and everyone will play and everyone will see. And it's just amazing. So if people can just hang tight, pretty soon that brother-in-law is going to see it too. The rest of the world's going to join in. The doors will open and everybody will be lined up in their cars trying to get in. So I just want to end with that perfect analogy there. Thanks, Red.
Thanks, Jeanne. I think it's quite amusing, actually, because I'm sure you're the same, Red. I've got friends that look at me and go, "You're still in? What are you doing?"
They say you're still doing that internet thing.
Yeah. But they, oh, I do hope that comes off for you. I really do. And yet inside they want, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. And I love that because I just ignore it. I just ignore it. And it's like, I know something you don't know. Collins, any final comments, my friend?
Yeah, thank you, Andy. You know, when Red was talking about the data, and just to touch more on what Jeanne said as well about people worrying about stealing our ideas, building their products. I don't know why they are worried. You know, technology is really broad. You know, I was just like, I took an example from Peter Rogers. Peter Rogers has a convenience shop. You know, just say Peter Rogers didn't open the shop, but he's selling toothbrush and stuff. And then another person came and opened another shop selling the same thing. Do you think Peter Rogers will worry about the person who've just come beside and open another shop? No, because he knows when he opened the shop, customers will come. This person is selling and this person is selling, but they are all selling the same thing. All of them are going home with money. The world is broad, 8.5 billion internet users. Do you think ONPASSIVE will take everybody? No. We're talking about, for instance, we can look at the online study application where they said online study application will be $1 trillion company soon. Very, very soon, $1 trillion market cap industry. You have Pluralsight selling. That's online study application. You have Udemy, you have Udacity, you have all of that. They are making money. Nobody is stealing any market from anyone, but all these companies are making, they are all online study application. You know, sometimes I use Pluralsight, sometimes I'll jump to Udemy, Udacity, depending on their price point. Which person within that frame will offer me the best, what I'm looking for, and I will jump there. The day Pluralsight offer it, I go there and I study, get my certificate, and off, I'm gone. The day this offer it, I look at it and say, wow, this is really great. I think I can make some certificate here. Go in. And that is how it is. Ash is building a platform where company will come in and participate. Now, looking at the data, I like the way Andy put it. You know, we don't sell data, but data is a heavy market because data are real people, verified people who are in. So just imagine a company comes, say, all right, ONPASSIVE now has 1 billion data. That's 1 billion users. Most company will come in, not like coming to buy data. Can I come? That is a market. What if Mercedes come and say, okay, I want to advertise in there because I know there is market there. These people, they have money. If I advertise within the ONPASSIVE ecosystem, at least I will make some money from the users. They will see my car and people will be clicking on red side. Wow, this car, I like it. I like it. That is, they follow where the market is. The market is data. They are not taking us out, but they are coming to sell product within our ecosystem because the users are there. So I just want to make that point, which is really massive.
Thank you, Collins. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate that. As I said, I will try and get in next Tuesday, and hopefully my guest will be available again next Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget Red's Live and Heroes on Sunday, so please join us. Thanks very much. See you soon.